Call the member for Morani.
I rise to speak on the cognate debate with specific reference to the residential tenancy and roaming accommodation and other legislation amendment Bill 2024. The stated aim of the bill is to strengthen renters' rights, support private investment, provide better pathways to resolve tenancy issues and to stabilise rents in the private rental market. In relation to the aim of resolving issues in tenancies, it should be noted that Queensland Civil Administrative Tribunal Annual Report 2021-22 shows that the number of lodgements relating to the tenancy disputes has been trending down in recent years, a trend which predates the implementation of Labor's Stage 1 reforms. 10,398 tenancy lodgements were made to QCAT in a 2023 report. This represents just about 1.6. Statistically, that's known as a rounding error of the 618,442 rental properties in Queensland. It is evident, therefore, that existing tenancy agreements already provide ample protections to tenants with a minimal rate of conflicts or disputed tenancies in Queensland, which leads me to wonder if the government's exaggerated assessment of the numbers of disputes was simply a pretext used to justify introducing the bill's Stage 2 reforms. And many changes in this bill will significantly and materially disadvantage investment property owners. If lessors are required to meet more onerous requirements and absorb greater financial risk without being able to recoup those costs through rent, many will inevitably leave the market altogether. It is also important to note that 90% to 95% of available rental stock is owned by private mum and dad's property investors, who have invested their savings in investment properties as a next nest egg for the future. And investing in properties is designed as a ladder of opportunity to accumulate personal wealth, and a core principle behind Menzies' ladder of opportunity for ordinary everyday Australians. Rental properties are investments just like shares, bonds or rare books. Rental property income is treated like other investment and is heavily taxed. Why then would government introduce measures designed to reduce the value of person's assets, which is what the bill and the others like it will do? The fundamental question here is, are rental properties a legitimate form of actual investment or not? And what makes the government think that it has a right to simply remove it from the same operation of free market as other investments? Madam Deputy Speaker, property owners have the rights to and should be free to determine rental charges and the frequency of increase for their hard-earned investment based on their own cost increases and risk level. Many of the bill's changes risk driving these private landlords to exit the sector altogether. A 2023 survey from the Property Investment Professionals of Australia found that 43% of respondents has cited changing tenancy legislation as a reason for selling their investment property, saying it had become too costly or too difficult to manage. Many others mentioned the loss of control over their property and increased compliance costs due to growing administrative and financial burdens is just overpowering. A Queensland government funded study by Deloitte Access Economics looked at the impact of Stage 1 reforms and found that the reforms lead to property owners maintaining less autonomy over their leased houses. In extreme cases, property owners may decide to simply opt out of the long-term rental market, turning to alternatives such as short-stay accommodation or retaining a property for their own personal use. And this bill, imposition of rent control, will add to yet more constraints on property owners, further reducing the supply and cost of housing in Queensland. Madam Deputy Speaker, the bill seeks to limit the rent increases to 12-month intervals attached to the property instead of tenancy, something that never seems to be mentioned when talking about the rental market here in Queensland. It is the fact that the landlords themselves have been hit with massive increases in costs and risks over the last few years. Property ownership in Queensland has been hit with significantly increased cost pressures, including increased interest rates, increased compliance costs for government stage 1 reforms, unprecedented supply chains issues impacting construction, and eye-watering increases in the cost of insurance due to the Queensland Government's crime epidemic and property taxes. It is. It's the truth. If you don't want to, it's on the news every night. This has left many property owners with little choice.
Order,
I'm not
members.
taking interjections, Madam Deputy Speaker. This has left many property owners with little choice but to take action in passing on some of these increased costs to tenants, resulting in higher weekly rents. The reality is, Madam Deputy Speaker, that there is a real cost owning a rental property, including the cost of land, tax, council rates, which have gone up in some places that I know in my electorate and outside of my electorate, over 100%, insurance premiums, repairs and maintenance, which has gone through the roof. And even the government will say that, the cost of everything's gone up 100%. But the rental people don't get that opportunity. No, they don't. Loan interest charges increase on an annual basis, but some increase more frequently with the interest rates going up almost monthly at one point. Some of these costs have soared on an annual basis over the past few years, particularly insurance. We know why that is. I just expanded on it. In truth, renters and landlord interest coverage, if costs are lower for landlords, then the costs will be lower for renters. It's just simple mathematics. If we are making renting more difficult for landlords, then that imposes more costs on renters, and rents will rise, and they will always rise. No one's saying anything. We should be making it easier, not harder, for people to rent out of second properties in order to help boost housing supply and bring prices down. And I also find it interesting that while the Miles government is more happy to demonstrate or demonise and punish small mums and dad property investors in Queensland, they are silent as a grave when it comes to condemning the ruthless profit-taking states of the $1 trillion insurance industries. No one said a word. What about the actual stuff that's actually in the parliamentary petition at the moment? 4044-24. No? No one wants to talk about that, and how the property taxes and how that, all that other stuff comes into play. If there was meaningful change, they would want to change it. No one's doing anything about it. Where are the controls and the hard caps on the antics of the insurers or any of the other giant monopolies who today prey on the poor and the powerless? Where's everyone talking about it here on the left? No one. Come on, you reckon you're going to do it? Stand up and do it. Where's the only small private landholders, most of whom are ordinary Queensland householders trying to get ahead, that governments are prepared to take on and punish in this way? Madam Deputy Speaker, this bill is not about renters or renters' rights. It's about driving ordinary Queenslanders out of the rental market to make way for giant property conglomerates and institutional investors who are itching to establish the same property monopoly here as they've done in countries all over the world. Let's be honest. If the government continues to punish property owners, the result will be that they will simply sell their investment, and they will be decreasing supply of properties available for rent, or worse, all those properties being sold by small individual investors will be scooped up by large multinational property investment trusts and build-to-rent profiteers, and the Queensland Government is so closely partnered with, it seems. This bill marks the 5th reform to rental laws in Queensland as in as many years. No other sector has endured this level of legislative scrutiny and reform over such a short period of time. Well, it's been demonised by its own government like this one. The bill purports to improve scrutiny, but it does nothing. We're falling backwards. Let's actually do some real reforms. Have a look at 4044-24.
Hello everyone, I'm Stephen Andrew, the State Member for Morenni.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay up to date with my latest videos. And also make sure to check out my other socials and my website links. They will be available in the description below. Thank you for joining us.